All right. Shalom, shalom. Back with another edition of the Spiritual Thoughts in Transit. Of course, like always, before we begin, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakha Kodash. Also, as well, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continue to grow very well to this very day. Let us continually feed and flock through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Still holding firm to this word, continuing to further the edification of the body of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and also as well, likewise, much due honors, shalom, to the Holy elect as well. That's also following the footsteps of the apostles and the elders, the men of old, that have also followed Yahweh Shai in all faith, truth, sincerity, and also in all charity. All right. Now, of course, like I said, there's another edition of Spiritual Thoughts in Transit. Whatever comes to them, through my mind, through the Spirit, I'll touch upon these certain topics. And also as well, on this current particular live stream, I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit short, shorter than usual, and we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. But there was a point that was made earlier today about the brotherhood, in which the brotherhood, especially amongst the brothers that you see out in the highways and byways, the brothers of Great Millstone, a beautiful point was made today concerning how the brothers should be treated in his ministry and in his home, because we don't know who we are. We don't know who any of the brothers are, man. I mean, we know that we have returned back in this time to teach the word, pursuant to Revelations, where it speaks about where it says, "Thou must prophesy again before many nations and countries," which was told to John the Revelator. Also, as well, Job. It was told to him that to stand in his lot at the end of the days. And another scripture in 2nd Ezra is saying that the judgment shall come and we shall live again. So all those ancient men that you read about in the Bible, they all have returned. And also as well, Revelations, the 1st chapter, where it says, all eyes shall see Yahweh Shai. So everybody has to be back in this time. But pursuant to the beginning of the live stream, you have to be very, very cautious on how you treat brothers, on how you look at each other. Just because one brother come from one different walk of life, it doesn't mean that that brother is less than. Okay, now the scriptures speak on that concerning how you're supposed to deal with your brothers, because when you read it in the book of in the New Testament, I believe it's the book of Matthew, it says that where it speaks about the Lord, or when it speaks about clothing the naked and feeding the hungry, and giving water to them that are thirsty. Yahweh Shai told them, or rather, they asked Yahweh Shai. They said, when have we seen you naked and we clothed you, or hungry and we fed you, we gave you bread? And Yahweh Shai told them is that the least that you would, or the things that you would do to the least of these little ones, the same you would do for me. And that's why, certain brothers that's in this truth, they're important. Because remember, this is a body. A body is only able to function unless all the body parts are there. Unless all the joints are moving. Your fingers, your toes, your arms, your forearms, man, your hands. They all work with each other, and you can't say one is more important than the other. I believe there's a scripture that says that as well. The Apostle Paul spoke on that, where it says, should the hand exalt itself, roughly paraphrasing. So one body part, they can't exalt themselves over another, because they all have their certain functions. And that's the same thing for the brothers that are in this truth. You know, they all have their own functions, and they have their own lots in this truth. Some brothers are not built to be speakers. You know, some brothers are not built to be readers. Some brothers not built to hold posts. Everyone has their own lot, which they fulfill, man. And that's through Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai is the one that dictates who gets who. You know, scriptures also speak about the spiritual gifts. All right, those that are speaking in tongues, prophecy. Let's see, what else? The working of miracles. All those are spiritual gifts. And we are to use those gifts, those talents that the Lord gave to us, to distribute and to bring back more. But the main thing in that same scripture, in that same breath, it says, covet after spiritual gifts, but rather that you may prophesy, which is the most important gift that exists. Why is prophecy or prophesying the most important gift? It's because that leaves room for mercy towards the ones who have this word and that believe. But on top of that, we are also, by this same word, gathering the elect of Israel. And also as well, by the gift of prophecy, we know what's going to happen in future times. We know what's about to happen soon, and there's power behind knowing what's about to take place. There's power in that, man. So again, pursuant to the scripture where it says covet after spiritual gifts, you know, those spiritual gifts, you know, those are given directly by Yahweh Shemel Shai. And I believe I touched up on that in the previous video about those different gifts that are given. You know, and like I said, those gifts are meant to be used for the use of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Again, referencing back to the parable of the men that received talents. You had the ones that went out and traded, right, like the scriptures say, and brought in more. But there was one particular person that did not do that. And they took that talent and they wrapped it in a napkin instead of using it. And what eventually happened? That talent was taken away. It was given to a man, given to the man that has his talents. And the one that hid that talent in a napkin, you know, he was cast off. So if you're not using the gifts that the Lord gave you, you know, then what's the point? Now, there are times to where, you know, you may be new in the truth and you're just getting your bearings, and, you know, and you're not too sure, you know, what position or what lot that you're in as of yet. But that takes time. Because think about it, when you plant a seed and it grows and it sprouts, all right, they all have one thing in common, one way or another, and which is that when they sprout, you know, they look like what's a good explanation? If I can Google a picture of a sprout, you know, basically it's like a green leafy type of substance, so to speak. or it's green and leafy at one point, and then once it starts to grow into that particular seed that's been planted. But it takes time to do that. But once time passes and that plant grows, you can identify what kind of plant that is. You can identify what kind of tree that is when it's grown. So that's why the new brothers that are coming into the truth, they're just sprouts. The seed's been planted and they're sprouting. But it's only a matter of time before it's been revealed onto what kind of plant that person is, or that Israelite is. And then once that plant has been identified, then that's when this word really takes off. Because at that point, now you know what to do. And I've personally seen brothers, get to that point to where they are now able to capitalize off of what, hey, there it is. Yeah, so they're able to capitalize off what the Lord gave them, man. And then is when you start to flourish. Then you start to bring forth fruit. Then once you're fully grown, then you're able to bring forth that fruit that the Lord's looking for. But it's not going to happen right then and there, Like I said, it takes time. Everything happens in its proper time, man. And we was reading about that. We touched up on that earlier today when we opened up camp. Said the Lord, He has His set measure, and certain things are supposed to happen in due time. And again, going back to what I was speaking about earlier, concerning those gifts being prophecy, and what comes with prophecy, redeeming the times. All right, the scriptures say, redeem the times because they are evil. Because see, when you understand prophecy, you understand that the times that you're in are evil and only evil. That's another precept we brought out earlier. It's an evil and only evil that's present, man. Okay? And again, through prophecy, we understand what that evil is and how it's all going to play out in this time. Like I said, man, having knowledge in general when it comes to what's going on around us is more powerful than any other substance you can think on the planet Earth to have. Because the end of a person that doesn't know anything, his end is going to end up, his end is going to be that to the point to where it's disastrous. And when I say disastrous, I mean pure hell. But we're in good case because we have the gift of prophecy. And that's what it's all about in this time, man. But again, like I was mentioning about measuring the times, right? Measuring the times concerning prophecy, that's how we're able to gauge how far along we are in these last times to where Yahushua is about to return. And we know, pursuant to Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, that's going to be a major prophecy that's going to happen. And that's going to speed things up. And we know it's going to speed things up because at that point, people are going to take the seal, and they're going to align themselves with Esau, Edom. And then afterwards, it's going to be a swift judgment after that, man. So it's not going to prolong itself. Okay? It's going to get to the point to where those times that we read about are going to be made fully manifest. And that's why now you're seeing around the world things are falling into place pursuant on the prophecy. War in the Ukraine, conflicts, riots, the deployment of troops, the deployment of your officials or your officers in certain places where there's riots going on. Inflation's at an all-time high, to the point to where the dollar is becoming next to nothing right now. And you have a people whose minds are set on evil continually. And that's many reasons why Yahweh Bashmal Shai has to prepare, or he has to conduct a complete cleansing of the planet Earth. It needs to be cleansed. It needs to be cleaned before the kingdom is established, man. The Lord's not going to establish a kingdom on a messy earth, on an earth that's been littered and destroyed by the hands of Esau Edom. No, it's got to be clean first, and then the Lord is going to usher in the kingdom. Because we're not going to be breathing in chemtrails in the kingdom. Yeah, we're not going to be having to look over our shoulders in the kingdom. All that's going to be done away with. Because in the kingdom is going to be rest. Complete rest. And the kingdom is going to be life. Being able to live again, man. Because as we're here in Babylon the Great, as we reside here, we're not really living. And we know it's because we're here in these bodies. And this society pushes that vibration of pleasing the flesh. That's why there's so many avenues here in Babylon the Great that anybody can go down. And once they go down those certain avenues, their life is forfeit. Because they have given themselves over to those lusts that they have. That's why the scriptures say, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Because if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So that's why, certain men have detached themselves from this current world. They detach themselves from this American idea underneath the guise of freedom. And since you have men that have detached and unplugged, now you see everything for what it is. Now you're not disillusioned, or you're not deceived by what's out there. And there's another point I wanted to make too, about those that are still, a part of this current society and still asleep. The brother earlier, the older brother, made a point about the movie The Matrix, right? Now, you had Neo that was unplugged, and when he was unplugged, he saw the reality. He saw what was really happening. But the point that I wanted to make was that you had one that was among them that knew what was going on, that knew what was happening, and knew that everything that they were seeing was an illusion, and he knew what was going on in the real world. But he wanted he wanted a seat, so to speak. And this guy, I believe, if I remember his name, I think he was called Cypher. And that is the story of certain Jakes that know that they're Israelites, know about what's happening, in the world and the destruction, but still seek after a seat somewhere in his current kingdom. Because you got Jakes that literally follow after the example of Cypher. Because Cypher, he made a league with the agent, So how much more today, man? You know, those that put on, you know, the uniforms, that use the cadence, that act like they're a part of us, but they're not. And the Lord's gonna find them out, man. Sooner or later. All right, sooner than you think, should I say. But yeah, like I said, you know, don't want to make this too long. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here, getting close to my destination. So and like always with the live streams and the videos and the lessons, Lord's will, this was indeed edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. You know, Lord's will, you got something out of this live stream. You know, Lord's will is build you up even further. You know, boosting your faith, and also as well that you know, it fed you to the full through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it down. So once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone everywhere to this day. And also Shalom, peace and safety, and salutations to the hopefully elect, continuing to labor in his work, and labor to show for your diligence to make your call and election sure, and faith, and truth and sincerity, and also in all charity. And with that, I'll say Shalom.